taking a quick shed cleaning break to talk about books, which is why we're all here. And it's been quite a while since I've done this because I am on an extended stay here down in southwest WA in the town of Albany, and I have to say it's absolutely beautiful here. And they also have a fantastic bookstore in town called Paperbark Books, and the Albany Library is pretty fantastic as well. And plus my sister has a great collection of books. And without further ado, let's get going. I'm Stella and welcome to 30 Books, where I talk about mainly Australian books to inspire you to run out and buy or borrow an Australian book. But the first book I am going to talk about is The Getting of Wisdom by Handel Richardson, whose real name was Ethel Florence Richardson. Now this book, The Getting of Wisdom, was first published in 1910, and it tells the story, it's a coming of age book, and tells the story of Laura, and 14 years old. Her father has died, her mother is a widow, she has children to support, but she's managed to save enough to send Laura to a prestige boarding school in Melbourne. And Laura arrives. She's a very smart, very scholastic young woman, and it's a bit of a story of her transformation and mob mentality, and how she just wants to be popular, yet somehow she keeps achieving the exact opposite, and she lies and is ostracized. It's a very funny book. If you think young women, you don't understand how young women or young people speak now, and maybe they're obsessed with their appearances, things have not changed. It's always been that way. And Handel Richardson, or Ethel Florence Richardson, is such a fantastic writer, and she captures the colloquialisms beautifully. It was very much influenced from her own life. She was sent to boarding school as well. And I will say that there's racism, implicit racism. It's mainly the language that is used. Now, writers wouldn't do that today, so we could say she's a product now. So that is The Getting of Wisdom by Handel Richardson, which I absolutely love. Another recent book that I read that isn't Australian, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. Oh my God, I thought it was brilliant. So I don't know how to talk about this book without too many plot spoilers, but basically our protagonist, who I just realised I don't think is ever named in this book, but correct me if I'm wrong. She decides that she's kind of going to drop out of life for 1 year and take some rest and relaxation in the form of drugs. Now, she has a best friend who she doesn't particularly like. The protagonist's parents have both died. Her mother sounded like a piece of work and was pretty much a prescription-based drug addict. And also is a very smart, scholastic young woman. She's about 20 years old. She can afford an apartment in Manhattan. You know, it's 2000, the year 2000. So you have this sense that you know what is coming ahead. It is very funny, very savage, and when I say funny, I don't think you'll be laughing out loud, but you will be kind of horrified. But at the same time, it's really, there's parts that are quite heartbreaking. So that it's, look how short it is. See how you can tell a really powerful book or story in such a short time. And I am saying this because, wait, I'm going to talk about the next book, which is the complete opposite. So that is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. And it says here, relentlessly savage fable of privilege and pain, diamond hard entertainment. And it is exactly that, yet somehow you care about her, and you care about her best friend as well. Now, which brings me to my next book, which was a bit of, I didn't finish it, or I kind of raced to the end to find out, and everyone is talking about Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I didn't get it, didn't love it, didn't hate it, way too long, I thought, and kind of just was disinterested. That was it. And I thought, look, I love a slow book as much as the next person, but look, honestly, there was stuff in this book that I just thought, why do we need to hear this? And I'm talking about, there's a rowing scene in here. I thought, I don't care. And I get that it was 1950s and everything was crisp, and the ways people, spoke were very crisp, and she's sassy and she's a scientist and she doesn't get it. So we've got this character who's probably neurodivergent, but maybe she's just a scientist with that particular type of brain. But I am sick of that trope in females where they just don't get it and they don't read social cues, and come on already. Spoiler alert. There is a scene where she is being raped, even though people are saying like it's a light-hearted book. It's pretty traumatic. And the rapist, the man, is fat. And somehow this makes it all the more worse. And she doesn't really describe what any of the characters look like, except for a woman who's got a big fat bottom. So a bit of fat phobia in there. I was already not that warm to it when I read that. I thought, please. I didn't love it, didn't finish it. So that is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Let's talk about some Australian books straight away. I recently just finished Kate Solly Tuesday Evenings with the Copeton Craft Resistance. Absolutely adorable, loved it, nothing to do your head in, totally entertaining, beautiful covered book. What I really liked about it though is that it did explore something just a little bit different that you don't see in a lot of commercial fiction. So there's a Muslim protagonist. So they're a group of people, Meredith, who... Here we go with the female neurodivergent character who again doesn't understand social cues. She forms a crochet club, and this group of people and get together. Claire, who has, I think she has 4 children. She's a bit overworked. She's a stay-at-home mum. She's a bit flummoxed by it all. You have Yasmin, who is a Muslim woman. She wears a hijab and she is newly pregnant. So, so perhaps her and Claire get together. So her and Claire have something to learn from each other, and Claire says she doesn't know a lot about Muslims. We have Luke, who's very handsome. He accompanies his grandmother Ethel to the crochet group, and he takes a bit of a shine to Meredith. And we have Lottie, who's loud and colourful and out there and talkative. And so they want to work on a special project again. But what is happening in the town of Copeton is that a mosque, and here come the patriots. But how do you resist? How do you strike up a resistance with crocheting? It's absolutely delightful. And the other thing so the group get together and decide that they are going to fight the patriots with crochet. What I really liked about this book is that all the protagonists have their backstories and their lives talked about, and clearly Kate Solly has done her homework, or she obviously knows people, because it just felt really authentic the way she was writing. And also the Muslim character is seen as an individual with her own individual problems outside of being a Muslim. So it is family issues that any one of us, from anyone, would experience. That's what I did like it about it. I did have a bit of a problem with Meredith at first. Again, we have a neurodivergent character. It never gets said. We never use that word. It's a bit of a cliche that she's so organised and she doesn't get the social cues, and at first I thought, is Luke trying to bully her into this friendship? But it didn't do that, and we got more of a backstory about Meredith. We saw life a little bit through her eyes. I think also the thing that's often forgotten is that when you have neurodiversity, there are other disabilities or conditions that play into that. So often somebody's not just autistic, there could be ADHD in that or something else. So it's people with autism aren't just like organised and have a simplistic way of looking at it. I think something a little bit more complex could be put in there. However, I did appreciate it in this book because this book is a commercial fiction, and I thought Kate Solly handled that really sympathetically and really interested, and it is a thoroughly entertaining read, and congratulations on such a beautiful, heartwarming book. Okay. Talking about books that I want to read next is Kylie Lads. I'll leave you with this. This sounds just gorgeous. It's a story about sisters whose brother has passed away, and he was an organ donor. So the sisters decided that they're going to search for the recipients of their brother's organs, and this sounds beautiful. And again, Kylie, congratulations. Both Kylie and Kate are Melbourne writers, and their books came out pretty much around the same time in February. However, Kylie, I do apologise because I sort of bumped your book because I heard Julie Jansen on Radio National's The Book Show, and this is called Maduka, the River Serpent, and it is about a elder Aboriginal woman who gets her TAFE certificate into investigation, and it's a crime novel. And I just thought this sounded too brilliant and it was exactly what I was in the mood for. I'm not really a big one for crime fiction, but this also had an environmental aspect to it as well. And who doesn't want to read about an older woman, an Aboriginal woman who's also an investigator? Sounded great. I have library because I didn't realise I was going to be staying in WA for quite so long, and I left my copy, and while I'm here I am writing, but I left my copy of Lee Kofman's book The Writer Laid Bare at home back in Melbourne. So I picked this one up from the library. This book is great. It's not really a how-to, but it is a kind of how to look at books. Now, even if you're not a writer, I would recommend this one. It's beautiful, and it's kind of like a memoir, and it's an exploration of writing and reading. Also, a last minute pick at the Albany Library is a Torrey Peters' Detransition, a Baby, a voraciously knowing, compulsively readable novel. I didn't know anything about it. I just saw the cover and thought that sounds said to be a riveting, insightful and very funny and unforgettable portrait of three women, trans and cis, who wrestle with questions of motherhood and family making, destined to be a 21st century classic. I better get back to that shed. Thanks for joining me here on 30 Books. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about my take on lessons in chemistry, and I'll see you next time in 30 Books.